Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming, and thanks also to those who are following us online. We are beginning with the press conference of foreign ministers of Estonia and Lithuania. Please, Minister Tsahkna, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Microphone?
Sorry. Now you can hear. I say again and officially, Kęstutis, that thank you for coming to Estonia. We have many meetings already before, and I'm very happy to welcome you here as a new Minister of Foreign Affairs. We had a good meeting, and we will have a good lunch, and then you'll stay in Estonia longer because of some occasions tomorrow. But we have a very complicated situation about security regionally, but also more broader. So we were discussing about the Baltic Sea region security and also the incidents we call on hybrid attacks, I can call as well, lately. So we need to work together more precise ways, and also we have a great format about the Baltic Sea region and also the Nordic Baltic cooperation, so we are very, very active there. Also, we have a very historically important event coming. It is the desynchronization from the Russian electricity grid on the 8th of February. So we discussed as well this as well, and I can assure you that we are ready for any kind of scenarios, and we're working very closely here between three Baltic states, but also regionally. And I do hope that, and I'm sure that we can do that, and finally it is done. Also, we were discussing about our support to Ukraine. As we know that maybe too many peace talks are there, but we need to understand that Putin has not changed the goal, the main goal. And the goal is not to gain more territories, but actually to take down Ukraine, change the rules, what we have agreed, and our independences, they are rely on that. So we have been working together a lot. Both of our countries, we have supported Ukraine more than 3% of our GDP, and we are per capita the leading countries in the world about that, and we agreed as well that we need to support Ukraine, we need to advocate for supporting Ukraine, that Ukraine should and must have a stronger position for this year and also in the battlefield. So the military support is crucial, also the air defense, but also the reconstruction part of the Ukraine. Also, we are constantly on the same position about the security guarantees for Ukraine in our region. The NATO membership is the best, the most efficient security guarantee which works. And also, it's not only the concern of Ukraine. It's the problem or the topic we need to work together for European security architecture. And we are constantly on the same positions. But of course, as you know very well, that the international political situation is changing, and also we are going to have as well the new US president entering to office in the middle of January this year. So about transatlantic relations, we are on the same page. US is and will remain our most important security partner on military level, but also economically, and we are working very closely together. Maybe one more specific topic we were discussing, and we will discuss during the lunch, is the regional cooperation. And of course, the Shadow Fleet initiatives. We are going to have the next Foreign Council in Brussels already in January. Then the hybrid threats will be under the discussions. So we are here very actively discussing the opportunities and positions together. And actually, it's hard to explain our relations because they are very close. So we are like meeting as friends. But I'm always very happy that if the Lithuanian foreign minister is coming to Tallinn, we can offer you a bit of snow. I've heard that you don't have the snow right now in Lithuania, and maybe you have an opportunity to have a long round of the cross-country skiing, as I've heard you are very keen on. Yeah. So thank you, Kęstutis, for coming, and please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Margus, thank you very much for your warm words and a warm welcome, and the overall feeling that you provided for me to be here for the first visit as the Minister of Foreign Affairs to Estonia. Of course, my personal involvement in the cooperation with Estonian friends and institutions is decades long. I'm not new to the business, I'm new to this position, but not new to cooperation. And our nations have 30 plus of re-established independence cooperation, and historically even longer, when we build the friendship, when we build the trust, when we build the respect to each other, when we can understand each other, you know, from the one look, and then, okay, let's move to that direction, and this is how we should proceed and build on it further on. That's my expectation, that's my message. So we are going, you know, from the idealistic, you know, check of the world where we are to the very practical cooperation. Of course, there is one more element in my visit this year, and it's a bit sad one, because we received it with big sadness, the news about President Arnold Rüütel passing away, and we are really with our thoughts with all the Estonian people, and share this moment with you. Tomorrow I will be also participating in the official ceremonies, and doing that, we have to remember that it's our obligation to build further, to remember, to cherish the friendship that then the presidents had, that the nations had, and to build further. And those directions, as we talked, are not only regional cooperation that is very intensifying with the desynchronization from the Brel, synchronization with continental Europe. It's also building the infrastructure further tighter. That's Rail Baltica, that's military mobility, that's us being faster and mobile, moving forces in the wartime and moving cargoes in a peacetime, and also the people traveling. And it's also saying to the world our position together that is better heard and understood. And it's not one of the opinions and one of the, you know, thoughts that we are sharing, but we know, and it was proved so many times, that we are very right in the assessment, and that we are very right in what we offer to do further on, be it activities, disruptive activities in the Baltic Sea, or be it war in Ukraine, or be it Russia's imperialistic threats to the neighboring countries from South Caucasus to Central Asia to elsewhere. So we recognize, we know what to do, we do it ourselves, and we share with the others. When we do it together, the Baltic nations, we are more effective. On support to Ukraine, that's the crucial year. In our understanding, same with Estonia, we have not only to commit to do more, and it's 0.25% also of GDP. We reached above 0.3% of GDP to security and defense needs of Ukraine, but we have to commit it multi-year, and that's the message. And that's the counter message to everyone who is expecting, you know, fast solutions, or, you know, some fast track, some shortcuts to a peace agreement. There will be no fast agreements without the strength provided to Ukraine, because we've seen it so many times. That was more than 10 times after 1990, when Russia was using force even more when they thought that they can reach the agreement. That was not only Minsk I, Minsk II, that was the Chechnya, that was, you know, Syria, that was everywhere where Russian forces were involved. Who thinks that this time would be different? What indicators we see that this time in Ukraine, Russia's aggression and Russia's will to get what they wanted from 2021 when they sent us the ultimatum would be different? It won't. So they invested a lot, and they would push forward. What we must do, we have to provide Ukraine, one thing, another thing, we have to keep pushing on Russia, on its interest everywhere. And it's not only sanctions, it's Russia's geopolitical interests, be it Middle East, be it North Africa, with their all activities in African continent. That's our obligation as part of the EU also to go after those interests, because each place where they station, where they, you know, put their troops, be it, you know, regular army, be it mercenaries, or be it, you know, anything other, the troubles and the crimes against humanity happens. So that's the path that we should stop. We see it as our mission because we are dependent on it. If it won't be stopped in Ukraine, we will have to stop it somewhere else. As we are now involved into the efforts to stop the disruptive activities in the Baltic Sea. One of the reasons why we are having it is that the last year we missed a chance collectively, not individually as the countries, to react and respond in the proper manner to the kinetic operations and sabotage operations in Europe. We went there, you know, with one voice saying, look, they're escalating. And if we show weakness, they would escalate further in other areas. That's what happened. We had it on land, with these clandestine activities. Now we have it in the sea in other forms. They're escalating further. If we won't react, we'll have other areas. We would, have the pressure and push towards it. That's why it's very important to be robust, to be very specific, and to provide all the menu how we should act. And those elements are not only the NATO ships entering the Baltic Sea today, actually, but there are also legal measures, international legal measures, national legal measures. There are also all the sensitive material that we have to have in place, in purpose to see what is happening, not only on water, but also under the water, because we know that Russians were developing for the decades those capabilities, and prepare ourselves for different scenarios, be it crisis or be it wartime, and not only in the Baltics, but elsewhere. And I'm happy that we have also Estonia so active in this position. Not happy, with the disruption, but happy that we have the like-minded country that, will push forward and use this opportunity, and we will be together with you. Talking about the strengthening our defense and security in other fields, we are really committed to increase defense spending. So last year we had 3.2%. This year we will reach almost 4% in our defense budget. We hear the message from incoming administration with the need to increase it further, and we think that we have to very openly and realistically reflect to it and look what we can do to, all of us as the continental Europe and other nations and allies of NATO, because it's not about the Baltics. It's not only, our responsibility to build the forces here and build the wall towards the aggressor, but it's also the need for all the others to do the same and to follow, our lead. So 3%, that's absolute minimum for the Hague summit, NATO summit that is upcoming, and we should think how we will increase furthermore. Because we know what the capabilities are required from us in purpose to implement the regional plans. Because with what we are having now, we won't be able to do that. To be able to do that, we have to have more, troops, we have to have more reserves, and we have to have more armor. To do that, we have to spend more. So this is what we are doing, showing also to the others. And talking about the connectivity, I was happy to hear that we already launched the train, Tallinn, Vilnius, that is much faster, and it provides us, as this sense how the Rail Baltica will look like in the future, and even faster. And I'm really looking forward to be able, to come to Tallinn on train one day, or, and, to travel in this convenient way. And then we will continue on this also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now questions, please. Please do introduce yourself at first.
Arne Alandi, Estonian Public Broadcasting Company, and my question goes to Minister of Lithuania. So what are Lithuanian expectations for the next week security summit in Helsinki?
Yes, so for the next week, as I described already, we look forward not only shadow fleet is an important topic, and we have to build on it. It's the problem. We know the numbers. That's the hundreds of ships in the Finnish Gulf, and it's in the Baltic Sea. Baltic Sea is the main gateway for Russia's oil exports, and we have to stop that because we have to enforce the sanctions, and we have to stop shadow fleet because now it is an instrument in the hybrid activities, and we have to stop it because it is the threat environmental and in all the other ways, because of the lack of the insurance, because of the lack of the qualities of the crew, of the captains, as we've already seen. So we have to concentrate on shadow fleet, but it's only an element when we talk about overall security of our infrastructure, subsea infrastructure, because there are other capabilities that Russia is developing. And to counter those, we have to invest more on shore and invest more through our companies, under the water, to see and understand what is happening and what they are preparing for. Because this would create, in the case of the crisis, immediate consequences in our capabilities to operate normally, be it the civil needs or be it the military needs. So it's the second part. The third part is, of course, the regulation. If now we're having the discussion how it was conducted with the Finnish forces, how we would conduct it, be it our exclusive economic zone, be it our territorial waters, we have to, to understand and agree it beforehand, before something happens. If you want to be fast, you have to, to drill before. To drill before, you have to plan. To plan, you have to prepare, and it goes to the next week's summit. You have politically to agree to do this. And of course, the straits, how ships leave and how they enter the Baltic Sea. We have to agree on certain protocols, what is a threat for us and what is the civil navigation that is not a threat for us. So there are a lot of topics, and also, to bring this knowledge among the allies that are around the Baltic Sea to elsewhere, to the NATO alliance as such, and to EU, that we will have the discussion later this month in the Foreign Affairs Council, looking for EU's role, then additional role in countering it, with the investments, with specific capabilities, with delivering 16th package of sanctions.
Külli Kapper, Postimees. I have a question to you, Lithuania. Lithuania has a new government. What contains the new Lithuania's China policy?
Lithuania's China policy is not old, is not new. We continue to expand our relations in Indo-Pacific. We see it as the alternative to develop relations with the countries that respect democracy, respect rule of law, respect the conduct of the business, and are not delivering, different type of threats that can be implemented through dependencies. So that's our long-term direction of our development of the relations. What concerns China relations and the current status, that was not Lithuania that pushed us into this situation. Actually, Lithuania didn't change so dramatically the policy towards China as we ended up. My interest is to normalize the relations to the point when we can interact as it was described once, creating the different conventions on diplomatic relations and creating the international traditions of diplomatic relations. We have to have our embassy in the Beijing, as we want also China to have their embassy, and in Lithuania we want to have them all the rights and obligations and diplomatic immunity, as we want to have for our diplomats in Beijing. So this is the absolute normal basic needs that we have to implement, and then we will see where we can develop further on. But from our side, I do not feel that we created these circumstances. On the other hand, we cannot ignore at least two developments that were also happening after 2021. The first one was China's assistance to Russia's military-industrial complex and Russia's aggression against Ukraine. That is important. The other one, economic coercive, and all the other through the spectrum measures against Lithuania after our decision to allow Taiwanese to open Taiwanese office in Lithuania. Those were only two countries historically that punished in the economic way for the political reason, exploiting all our dependencies. That was Russia and that was China, and we cannot forget that. And this is the message to each country that think that they can manage the dependencies on China. Size of the country like Lithuania, size of the country that has the trade one way, it's impossible, because it will be used in the first case they see it usable. So for us, decoupling and limiting to absolutely nothing relations in our strategic sector, that's the answer. And then that's the answer that we share with all the others, and not only in Europe.
Berta Gortfelder, Delfi. My question is also to the Lithuanian minister. You have said that the West was too slow in responding to Russian hybrid attacks. In your opinion, what should have been done differently, and what else can we do now to stop the shadow fleet and attacks on infrastructure? Thank you.
Yeah. So what was that's why we're starting from talking about the awareness, and that's why Margus also as I understand started from talking about the common understanding what's going on. So we see the incident here and there. What's going on? What's the interpretation? And if we have the actor, we have the actors. We have the state actor behind it. We have the intent. What's going on? So our interpretation was, and our understanding was that it was the escalation. They see our weakness and they exploit our weakness in purpose to change the support of our societies, to our governments, to support Ukraine, to get this sense of terror in the societies, to start thinking that, okay, maybe we shouldn't look, we shouldn't involve too much into Ukraine, maybe we should care about ourselves more. That's the idea. And they were escalating. To stop escalation, you have to respond. Because otherwise it will go like this, and especially when it is the political initiative on one side. So then we were saying, if we want to respond, it can be with the further military support to Ukraine. It can be, with hurting interest elsewhere. We are not talking about the symmetric response. We won't go and burn their factories or retail shops, because we are not Russia. We are on different ground standing here. But we have to send the message that we not only don't like it, but we are not, we are not accepting it as the situation to which we will adapt in the future. So that opened the door and, showed our weakness to respond to further escalate. And then we had third incident already of disrupting our infrastructure with immediate damage done. And it's about the time, it's about the further vulnerabilities, talking about the infrastructure, be it data cables, be it, electricity or gas link with Finland. It shows that we are vulnerable, and it shows that, okay, we concentrate on restoring the situation. We're looking for the ship that could repair the cable. It's not about that. It's not only about that. We should repair the cable. But the other part, we should respond, because next time that would be something else. And this is the thinking that we saw on us, saw on Baltic countries, I saw in Lithuania, from energy to informational sphere, all the spectrum of the security. We've seen it. That's why we say we know how it works. And we have the instruments on our side too. That's why that's the obligation of Baltic countries to convince our allies and partners to act now, because otherwise there will be the bigger consequences. So that's our approach towards the all infrastructure. And what concerns the incidents, that was not only about the Baltics, the incidents. The very need to react is for Germany, for UK, Italy. We have the map with the incidents, with the sabotage operations of Russia very recently. So why we're still, discussing it as some new normal? It's not new normal.
Maybe I'm just adding, there are different levels. One is the political willingness, and I see it's there. We just had in the same building, actually, the Jeff meeting here about the shadow fleet, but also the hybrid attacks. The second thing is about instrumentalization in the meaning of the capabilities. So we will see soon the more participation of NATO fleets in our region, and the flags, and also real capabilities. But also we are talking about the practical capabilities, and we have them there. But the question is as well, how can we use them? And it's about law. It's about international maritime law. It's about as well the domestic law. Estonia is going to change soon the domestic law and regulations about how can we take and put responsibilities about these figures or persons or individuals or the companies who are actually threatening or destroying our undersea infrastructure. These opportunities are there. And if you have 2 or 3 lawyers, you have always all the different opinions as well about the international law. So we agreed as well to discuss regionally, at least, all these nations and countries who are who are here in the Baltic Sea region. How can we actually take the international law? What are the red lines in the meaning? How can we actually use the existing rules to protect our national interest and also the interest of our people in the economy and so on? So we have lots of opportunities, and I think that the latest incident, however we call it, attack, we can call it as well, it's just, I see the change of the political understanding of that. It's not just the one or the other case, it's a systematical pattern. And that's why we have this cooperation as well, the leading. And Estonia this year as well, we are the chairing country for the Council of the Baltic Sea States. So, and we will focus on that a lot because the Baltic Sea, the Council of Baltic Sea States, all these regional states belong there, and it is exactly the topic we can cover. Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, we conclude the press conference today. Thank you.
Aitäh.
Thank you. Aitäh. täna mingi otseintervjuu ka?